Good Monday morning, everybody. I hope that you had a nice weekend and that you were able to spend some time far apart, of course, chatting with some of your friends this weekend. So, speaking of friendship, I just wanted to take this time to talk a little bit about the friendship between George and Lenny because that is one of the major themes that we have seen so far in our story. So, you know that George and Lenny are two very good friends, and that George is the one who is usually taking care of Lenny. So Lenny gets himself into some trouble sometimes, not on purpose, but because there's some parts of life that Lenny just doesn't understand, and so unfortunately he gets himself into some situations, and George usually has to bail him out. So we're going to see this idea of friendship continue throughout our text, and we did see this in chapter 3 too. So we know that the friendship between George and Lenny is strong, but it also becomes strong with the other men on the ranch, like Crooks and Slim and Candy, because we know that in chapter 3, Curly, the boss's son, who does not have a very good relationship with some of the men, comes in to pick a fight into the bunkhouse with somebody who is vulnerable. So he thinks that picking Lenny is the best idea because he thinks that Lenny's somebody who couldn't possibly fight back, but he's wrong, as we found out. Picking a fight with Lenny only resulted in the rest of the other men understanding Lenny and supporting Lenny even more, and also resulted in Curly having a broken and completely smashed right hand. Ouch. Bad idea, Curly. You're going to continue to see the theme of friendship and supporting one another throughout the rest of our story, but another theme that's going to be coming up in chapter 4 is the idea of race relations and segregation, because in chapter 4, our story is going to start off in Crooks's bunkhouse, which with Crooks being the only black worker on the farm, his bunkhouse is really the only place that is completely his own. It's the only comfort space that he has, and Lenny comes in thinking that this is a space where he can spend some time with Crooks and chat. So I don't want to tell you too much more because I don't want to spoil it for you. Actually, I haven't heard yet from my friend Mr. Albert this morning, so why don't we go and see if he is awake yet. Mr. Albert. Mr. Albert? Mr. Albert. This is not your rubber ducky speaking. This is your friend, Miss Booty. Hello. Mr. Albert!
Hey, hi. How you guys doing?
Who's your friend?
That's Han Solo.
By the looks of it, I think he wants you to stop singing.
Can I just have 1 minute to get dressed?
All right, while we wait for Mr. Albert, my trusty sidekick and I figured that we could just check in on how your weekend was. I forgot to ask. This weekend, we spent some time spring cleaning. Isn't that right, Dolly? And we also got out to take a walk. And just kind of continuing our book suggestions, too. Last time we talked about picking books that might help us escape to a magical world during this time of social distancing. So I'm going to pick The Wizard of Oz. It's one that I'm sure that you've all probably seen in movie form, but if you haven't read the book, you also should check out the book. And I'm also choosing this one because isn't this cover just amazing? I know that you're not really supposed to judge a book by its cover, but when it's a beautiful limited edition cover like this, you sure can. So Wizard of Oz, that's my book recommendation for you. Maybe Mr. Albert's ready now. Let's pass it back over to him.
Hey guys, I'm here. Okay. Oh, fried eggs, my favorite. Thank you. Hey, good morning, Miss Booty. That is a great book. That was one of Desiree's favorites. The Wizard of Oz, guys, changed the face of kids' literature and the face of Desiree's birthday parties for many years. That's good. All right. Oh, tarragon on top of the eggs too. Thank you. So listen, guys, chapter 4 is one of these really, really interesting chapters. So the whole book is fantastic. This is a book that you can read 30 times and still pick up something new. Now, Miss Booty told you you're going to learn a lot about Steinbeck's views on things like race relations. Pay attention to what Crooks says. When Crooks is speaking, picture John Steinbeck's voice. It might not sound revolutionary to you, Keep in mind, the book's almost 100 years old. So that these ideas that Steinbeck puts forward would have been really offensive to a lot of people back then. So he uses the character of Crooks to put these things out there, and he's literally almost a century ahead of his time. Other cool thing about this is earlier in the year we studied the structure of a story, and we had a plot plan. And it seems like we just got to a really exciting part. Well, let's take a review real quick, because I don't think we've quite gotten to the climax yet. Oh, these eggs are so good. So listen, guys, in your binders you should have this. It's Freytag's pyramid, plot plan, plot diagram, story curve, whatever you want to call it. And at the very top of the pyramid, we have the climax, the turning point, usually the most exciting part in the story. And for a lot of us, I know for me, for my first time reading this, I thought it was when Lenny and Curly finally go at it, and Curly gets exactly what he deserves, and the guys kind of rally behind Lenny. But that is not the turning point in the book. So, for myself included, a lot of us think, well, it must be part of the rising action then. Things are going to get more exciting. We're not there yet. We're halfway through the book, and this might seem like it's the beginning of the conflict, where Lenny and Curly duke it out. But we might put it as the inciting incident, but it's not that either. We're halfway through the book. We're not at the inciting incident yet. Ladies and gentlemen, I humbly submit to you my personal opinion that we are still in the exposition, that we are still learning about individual characters, that we are learning about just how strong Lenny is, just how innocent he is, that the entire thing with Lenny and Curly, both chapters in the bunkhouse were purely characterization. So there it is, guys. Anyways, that's my theory on how Steinbeck structured this whole story. So listen, don't forget to be active. Don't forget to keep setting goals for yourself. Don't forget to be reading just for yourselves as we go through this. Practice your paper airplane skills. We got that competition coming up our first day back. Nothing's going to get defenestrated. We're going to keep the paper airplanes in the room, but see who can throw it the farthest. So practice your designs, practice your folding, practice your throwing. Tomorrow is Dad Joke Tuesday. Feel free to post them tonight. I know some of you are doing your homework at night instead of during the day, and some of you are on in the morning. So if you're a night person, feel free to post your dad joke tonight so that the kids in the morning can read them. We'll make sure to get those dad jokes on there. All right, guys. I'll see you later.